It's shopping day. We're going to have a little look at some dips. We're going to essentially do this off the cuff, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So hi everyone, welcome to the channel. If you are new, subscribe, hit the bell button, leave a like and comment. On the screen, obviously my company courses. I'm currently going through a big phase of updating the courses. So a lot of people ask me how do you learn how to do stuff? Well, links below, right? Check them out. So the elephant in the room, Bitcoin is correcting. Along with everything else, it's looking pretty savage. People panicking right now, which is understandable. And I think that is kind of the play that's happening. I think we're going to go down to 40k at some point. I just got a feeling in my gut that that could be a level of interest. But like any technical analysis, if we don't know what's going to happen, it's like we're looking at previous levels of support and resistance essentially to see if it is a possibility. Obviously, we'll see what happens. Bearish divergence all over the parish. We knew that anyways. We knew that it was coming. If you've been listening to what I've been saying, I've been telling people to take profits, wait and see what happens. But when you start looking at obviously this bearish divergence here, it's kind of like a donkey's dick hanging out. It's massive, like absolutely huge. But the fundamentals are clear. This is still a bull market, which is tickety-boo in my eyes. So nice, neat structure, obvious, looking good, right? But this video is all about buying dips and altcoins, alt markets, alt seasons, all that kind of good stuff is still here. And I'm going to explain why. When you look at the BTC pairs, they are disgustingly cheap, really cheap. And people go, well, it's not happened yet. If you're looking at the USD prices, you're going to probably have a heart attack because Bitcoin has fallen. It's going to accumulate those losses into altcoins, obviously. But the BTC pairs aren't that, they're bad, but they're not as bad. But more to the point of where they are right now. A lot of them are in really nice places. So this is off the cuff. Totally off the cuff, this video. I've not got any content for you other than we're going to find stuff together, because why not? So what you need to go on to, and this is what works for me, right? It might not work for you. I prefer the BTC pair versus USD because I like to grow my Satoshis. For me, Satoshi levels, those 8 little magical digits are my thing, right? Simple. And what I want to do then is go onto CoinGecko and go into Bitcoin as a currency. And then what I want to do, I want to go the last 7 days, I want to see what looks like shit, basically. Last 7 days, most things aren't too bad. But we can already see here, there's a few. Right, if I keep going, top 100, there's some good yans, there's some bad yans, right? There you go. Talking about a bit of dialect here. Anyways, I'm going to show you some coins that look good. Now, the next step to this is obvious. If we look at Avalanche, for example, you then go to the chart. Then you go on to the last 90 days, or give or take, it doesn't really matter. 180 days, it doesn't matter. But when you start looking at this, now, it looks so obvious. But to me, that is a freaking dip, man. So when we look at trends, trend formations, trend analysis, what we're looking for is a high, lower low, lower high, all kinds of stuff, right? Different variations of it, right? If you understand that terminology. For me to explain this terminology, I'll make it very, very simple. So you have got a uptrend, which is like an obvious kind of impulse up. You then have a pullback, and this is what then creates a lower high, right? So essentially what this does is it makes it come back down to a certain point, a support level, usually in confluence with a Fibonacci as an example. The next level from this is obviously the higher high, you know, creating a new high, which is a higher high. And then you get the next level, which essentially is another higher low, a lower high, sorry. So you can kind of see where I'm going with this. And this is what we're looking for all the time in these altcoins in that pair. And again, it will continue going up. If you look at, like, you can see what, I know it looks like a mess. I do apologize. I've butchered it. But if we're looking at obvious levels, if we're looking at the Fibonacci here, start the move, go across, you know, where does it go? Usually 618, usually 382, depends how aggressive the move is. It depends on it. But when you start looking at like the obvious here, look at the Bitcoin chart right now. What is it doing? Impulse, pullback, impulse, pullback. You know what we got here? High, lower high, 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 low high. The other way around is obviously lower low, low, high. You get the picture, right? So when we look at Fibonacci levels on this, just to give you an input of an opportunity here, this is the daily time frame. If we look at the 3-day chart, you can see the same level. This is the obvious level to go from, in my opinion. When you then put an impulse wave on this and a retracement, oh look, we've turned around. Okay, I personally believe 40k is a magic number for Bitcoin. Maybe that's why 618 levels is in confluence with that. But I think we're going to pull back up and then slam. But we'll see. We'll see. Anyways, dips. So when we're looking at this, all I want to see is the BTC pair. What am I seeing there? In my eyes, my perfect symmetry eyes, I see that as a buy-in opportunity. Why? Because not too long ago, it was all the way up here. And this is like a 90-day chart, essentially. So we've been pulling all the way up, it's pulled back down, right? If you want to go a little bit later on, you can see where previous action was. If you want to look at where the previous alt season was. But what you can do with this as well, you can put candles on here as well if you so wish to. Personally, I prefer the lines. But you can look at the market cap as well. But for me, if you want to really cheat as well, just use TradingView on here. If you don't have your TradingView subscription, again, it's very, very simple. Put it to a higher time frame, maybe the weekly. And if you're looking at that and you're thinking, well, it's a dip, boys and girls. You know, it makes obvious sense. You can see how it's been dipping the last few days. People panic. People are shitting themselves. This is 58% down in BTC Satoshis from its all-time high. Why are you not looking at things like this? Just to go back a step though, do your research first. Make sure the coins that you're looking to buy, you've done your research, okay? So moving on to the next level, we'll keep it simple. We'll go on like this sort of level. Personally, I prefer this. It makes much more sense. But again, as I say, you can go into this and you can basically, if you wanted to, like if you like genuinely, if you were like looking at certain things, where is it? Where the heck? There it is, Fibonacci. If you wanted to do a Fibonacci on this and you're quite tight and you don't want to pay for it, you can see here, 618 levels, boom. So that's one, avalanche. Get it in your book, all right? So when you move on to the next one, again, just go back, looking at the BTC pairs, looking at all this, you know, you want to buy the blood. You want to buy what you like when it's bleeding hard, when it's literally, you need a tourniquet. And for me, I'm looking at all these, I'm thinking Zilliqa looks like an absolute doozy. Because look at it, again, we've been much higher, again, go to 90 days. We've been much higher, we've pulled right the way back to previous levels. You can see previous levels. If you look left on any chart and you see support and resistance, use them as guides. Again, people weren't looking at taking profits around here, but when you look left, it was a level of resistance. Why not? At the end of the day, people are going to be buying these support levels, which we are very, very close to. So another one, Zilliqa, boom, on your list. At the end of the day, you're going to find loads of these in these bloodbaths, but people are too tunnel visioned and not looking. You need to look at what you like and what you can buy. And when you can do this in the exact same way with USD, if you're trading in USD, you can do the exact same thing. But when you're looking at this and you're seeing within 2 days, by the way, like it's been pretty ridiculous, but for the last 7 days, you're seeing charts that look like this. This is where you make your money. You buy the dips. And again, dollar cost averaging. It is the most obvious and most simple technique in the mankind of investing. You buy little, you buy often, you buy the lows every single time. Whenever there's an opportunity that presents, just buy it. Even though it may well dip lower, there's another dipping point to buy, because you got to look here. These coins have all been much higher. So look at AVE, for example. AVE's a good example. Here again, same situation. Go to the 90 days. What has it been? What? Crazy levels, right? This is majorly down. This is down 51% essentially. If you're looking at all-time high levels from the last, since the 10th of February, it's down in the BTC pair 51%. This is where people make money. Now, if we flip this over and we have a little look at the likes of the USD charts on the exact same element here, it's the same situation. It's down 43% here in USD because obviously Bitcoin's been a lot higher. So the dips are here. The dips are here to be bought. But for me, looking at it, I prefer growing Bitcoin. That's just my overall game. Now, this is the easiest way to discover if things look bad. Now, when you start thinking logic in terms of like where can things go, when we were looking at the previous alt season of September, and then we went to January, and it was a bit red for the altcoins, essentially in the BTC pair, then it picked back up, it pulled back again. The next few days, it just went historically booming. Spillovers will happen in these valued coins because they are down 40, 50, 60% over a matter of a couple of weeks. That is where buy orders are placed. They are strategically put there by big money. And that is where they get these ridiculous bounties from. And that's where it sends off again. And then it forms, yet again, another level of the trend where we start going, essentially, we go up, we reject, we pull back where the fear is, where people are panicking. It will go maybe 60% down. That 61.8 level is always key. And then what happens next? People sell their lows at support, and then it takes off again. You buy supports, you sell at resistances of end moves. But when we look at Bitcoin, if it trickles down to this level and does a similar sort of ilk move like this, what happened last time? Well, when we go back to January and we look at all the altcoins from that level, they all popped, they all went boom, because people will be putting money into altcoins because they're low in value. And all these levels here are going to look more and more attractive. Look at the likes of Tezos as an example here. Tezos has been a one that has been majorly low for a long period of time. If I go to the 180 chart here and just look at this, actually we'll go to the year chart. There you go. The year chart of Tezos, in August it was all the way up here. It went all the way down, and then January we popped back up, and now we're retracing again. It's going even lower again. So the fundamentals are clear. When we look at the all-time high levels of certain regions, things get very, very interesting for any situation, literally any situation, doesn't matter what you're in. But the fundamentals are clear here. If you back an altcoin and you like it, and you've seen that the opportunity to present itself at you, for you essentially, at such a low, why not go for it? Look at the likes of Polkadot, for example, as well. They're still doing okay, they're still up. Obviously Binance over the last 7 days still up. But they are down quite aggressively over the last 24 hours. Some coins have not pulled back at all. Sol, for example, just went the other way. She went, fuck off, I'm aware. It's just gone. Kasama's another one. So not everything is falling to the same fate, but some are. Some will pop than others. At the end of the day, look at the likes of Holochain over the last, it's ridiculous. Pundi X, for example, crazy moves, crazy moves. But you need to understand this. Everyone needs to understand this. It's simple. If you are not looking at opportunities to buy in these dipping points with spare money or equity or profit that you've taken, you're not going to grow. And if you're using profit to then buy the lows, you're going to see when it bounces again and go back up and continue that uptrend, which we are in a bull market, nothing's changed. Things get very, very interesting. Now, to go and finish off on this video, if you go onto the Bitcoin chart and you go to an indicator here and you just put in an EMA, an exponential moving average, right? Moving average exponential here, right? And on the weekly time frame or 3 day or whatever, if you put in the 21 moving average, this is kind of like the trend setter for most coins essentially. For me in crypto, the 21 moving average is often the one that people look to a lot in terms of the higher time frames. Not so much the lower time frames, but the higher time frames. If you're on the weekly time frame and you're not looking at this, you really should be. You really should be, because this is like a real great trend setter in terms of the bull market essentially kicking off, and off we go. Still above it, still got a long way to go as well. So keep an eye on what the longer term lagging indicators are telling you, because for me, that is bullish. It's still an uptrend, it's just pulling back. It's absolutely fine. And what have we created? A series of higher highs and higher lows. Uptrend. So enjoy.